Good morning, everybody. If you're so inclined, you might want to grab a cup of coffee because what I want to talk about today is female socialization, the double bind, and how that plays into this. Okay, long story long, girls. Grab your coffee cups or click off. This is about how those three things intersect. And what I'm really hoping, oh God, here, let's do this. What I'm really hoping is to use this experience to, I'm an old lady and this still catches me up. Use this experience to remind myself next time not to let either of those things stop me from saying things that I know, and also to serve as a, what do they say? If you can't be a great example, you can at least serve as a horrible warning. So here I am to serve you as a horrible warning today. So, as you see, today there was supposed to be a beautiful new floor in the kitchen, and that did not happen. Sorry about the shine. That did not happen. So what happened was the dudes came, started working on the floor a little later than I thought they'd show up, but whatever, that's fine. Started working on the floor, which was supposed to be laid sideways across like this. I came down after they had laid a little bit of it, and the apprentice was there, and he was laying it 90 degrees to where I had said the pattern not to be. That is not why there's no floor here, though. I just kind of was like, you guys, this isn't what we discussed. And the head guy apologized and said he misunderstood, and I said, you know what? I can live with it. It's not that big of a deal. So there's one right there. I didn't even notice that. There's one right there. I have laid a tile, herringbone, actually porcelain tiles, not cork, with my wife 10 feet above the ground up in the library. So I was very clear, I thought, on what we wanted, and I understand the way a herringbone tile is laid. But apparently, and one of my pet theories is that males literally can't hear us when we're talking. I actually worked with an older man who his hearing aid didn't pick up my voice and some of the other higher voiced gals at work. I don't think I have a particularly high voice, but for some reason couldn't pick up the female voices, and he had to literally tune his hearing aids if we were having an extended conversation so he could hear us. But in any event, I don't think they hear what we say most of the time anyway. And maybe that's not just a male thing. Maybe that's just a something in this society thing, but there you go. They don't hear us. And there goes my female socialization. No, this is a male thing. They don't hear you. He was here working on the house. He should have heard me. He should have understood me. And he should have laid out the damn tile in the pattern that he meant, so I could say, no, dude, 90 degrees from that. Okay, that's neither here nor there. So he's ripping up the floor. I come down and he's ripping up this pattern. He's got maybe 24 square feet of it laid in the middle of the floor, and he's ripping it all up, messing up the freshly flattened surface. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? I told you I would be okay with it. I would live with the pattern being off. And the head guy comes back in and says, he's on the phone all intense outside. So I'm thinking there must be some family problem he's having. I don't know why he's not here, but he says, no, the tiles they're off now. They're like 1/8 of an inch off at several rows out. He's like, they're not meeting up right. And I'm thinking, well, why did it take you 8 rows to find that out? Because when we did it, we were laying a square. You get your square, right? We were making sure they were square every tile we laid. And that was 10 feet in the air with a fast set, our mistake, cement. Like, why weren't you checking each one? I did not say any of those things. I said, no, why? Why is that? Why were they doing that? And they proceed to discover through many phone calls with the store that cork, like wood, and I'll get back to that later, requires a several period days of being in the environment in which it's going to be installed to acclimate. And when he said that, I said, well, that's funny, because I had called when the warehouse said my stuff was in, and when I had scheduled it out a month farther than we were originally planning, I said to them, hey, do y'all need us to come pick that stuff up? Does it need to sit in the house? And do you need, room in your warehouse too? And they said, no problem. We'll hang on to it. So I thought, okay, they know better than me. My mistake. I have laid, as part of a team of people, both a wood floor and a tile floor before. And when I did my cork floor, that was in the summer, but I'm sure I had those tiles, laid out and acclimated ahead of time, because they've been there for 20 years and there's not any cracks. And when you do the wood floor, I wouldn't lay a wood floor that hadn't sat in the house for at least a week, probably more than that, right? Right? Everybody knows this, right? That's ever done a floor. And I'm like, well, why the fuck didn't you guys know this? Why the fuck did you just bring these tiles in from the cold trailer last night? My wife opened up the boxes. She was like, we got to get some air in there. And I was like, yeah, but I'm thinking, this is my female socialization. I'm thinking, oh, maybe this is different than the stuff that I've worked with before. That's another thing. Consuelo and I have we laid out that tile pattern, the herringbone tiles in the library. I'll put that as the thumbnail so you can see what I'm talking about. We laid it on the floor of the garage, which wasn't even particularly level. But she did such a great job of cutting those porcelain, which is hard. I don't know if you've ever done tile cutting, but it's messy, wet, and hard. And she did a fantastic job of it. And we just had no problems with it. Everything met up just fine. Granted, the spaces between, because it's a bigger tile, are larger than this. They have to butt right up. But yeah, we don't do this for a living. And that is why, to get to my point, that is why I hired this out. Because I thought, well, you know what? We'll just throw money at this problem, because maybe I wouldn't do as great of a job as somebody who's a professional. Female socialization at work again. Right? We're careful, and we know how to use a square, and we know how to read the directions, and we would listen to anything that the company told us when they sent the thing. So we wouldn't have made that mistake. We wouldn't have. Anyway. So I'm like, well, what does the company say? He called up the cork company, apparently, because the cork floor people apparently knew nothing about this. This is why we went to like a reputable brick and mortar store in a nice part of town, because we figured they're the experts. And he says, well, they say it needs to be in the place for at least 72 hours at least 50% humidity and a good temperature, which obviously we didn't have it that long. We had it overnight, and it was all stacked up. Oh, and you have to unstack them into tiny stacks. Let's show you. You have to unstack them into these tiny stacks because, probably because cork is very insulative, like it's good sound killer, and it keeps temperatures the same. So it needs to be stacked short so that change in temperature and humidity get through the whole stack. So, because I was worried about being perceived as, pushy or know-it-all or due to my female socialization, I didn't say anything, and Consuelo didn't say anything about our concerns. And the double bind is that if we had if we had expressed our concerns, we would have been bitches. We would have been unreasonable harpies. And in fact, the man then proceeded to tell me a story about this awful harridan he had to go work on and how she was this and that and the other. And I'm thinking, you know what? I know you're going to tell the same story about me to the next person that you go to their house. I know you are. Even though we were like on the same side, because this was clearly the store's fault for not telling him, but it was also his fault. And he did install everything at a 90-degree angle to start with. So everybody was wrong, especially me, because I fucking knew better. So right now I have I turned off the one next to me. I have 3 humidifiers running. I'm trying to get it cranked up to, he said the top level humidity acceptable was 75%. I got some readers here. It's about 70 right now. So I've had these running. I'm moving the stacks around. You can see these things, they're like potato, I don't know if you can see it on this piece, but they're like a Pringles chip. They're curling up at the ends. And that's a problem when you're trying to install a flat floor, right? So then the dude wants to take the glue bin back with him to show it to the store. And I said, I finally got my ovaries back. I said, no, you are not taking one fucking part of this floor out of this house. It is going to stay here and acclimate. You can take a picture of that bucket and take that back to the store. And so yeah, no call from the store for an apology, no offers yet for refunds for the overage that was destroyed. And now I had planned, thank goodness, not listening to the men's, I had planned for the whole floor to be under everything in the floor. And I have reasons for that. And when the dude first got here, he tried to talk me out of it, saying, oh, it doesn't need to go under the cupboards, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what? I want it under the cupboards. I'm not going to go into why right now. But because I had bought that much, and we also had, I think for herringbone, it's a 15% overage. I think we'll have enough to finish the floor if we don't go under all the cupboards. I said, you're going to get your way. We're not going to go under the sink cupboards. So he was going to come back on Friday. Our cupboards, as you will recall, are being installed on Monday. And I do not want giant men tramping all over the floors only 48 hours after they've been installed. I hear that there's a 24-hour cure time, but I'm inclined to say, no, I'd rather have 72 hours. So I told him to come back on Thursday. And my plan is for him to come back. I will have had these at huge humidity. The heat's cranked. We're trying to do everything we can, moving them around. And if they're not ready, tough shit, dude, then you can come back on Friday. And I'm going to hold to that. And I'm also going to wait for the store to tell me what they're going to do for me. And then I'll counter with my own request for a solution to this. So I had left extra time for whatever painting needed to be done this week. Obviously, I cannot do that now because my kitchen is full of Pringles potato chips. So that'll have to happen after the cabinets get installed, most likely. Maybe I'll do it on Sunday night. We'll see. But let this be a lesson to us all. We know stuff, especially if you've done the thing in some other form, you know stuff. Don't be afraid to speak out like I was, because we had been burned so bad by the drywall guy, right? By both the drywall guys. We were just like, okay, just do it. Just please do it. And it's like they can smell your intention to not question them too much. I don't know what that is, but thanks for listening to all of this. I hope that it helps you somehow to not fall into the same trap that we did. And I really wish I had put this floor in myself. Everybody have a great day. Bye.